Shalom, my brothers and sisters in Yahweh and Bibleaholics everywhere, and welcome. Tonight is our extra-canonical study, and our study is in Jubilees. And if you've got one of these books that has the Dead Sea Scrolls in it, go ahead and grab it. Grab something to drink, okay? And we will be doing Jubilees chapters 4, 5, and 6 this evening. So, before we get into this book tonight, I want to go over a little bit more background on this book. We read the introduction to it, but I don't know if it was explanatory enough about what's going on here. This book was written during the time of the Maccabees. Okay, you ask, what is the Maccabees? Okay, the Maccabees were a tribe that were in the mountains of Judah. Okay, when Alexander the Great invaded Israel, Canaan, the land of Canaan, when Alexander the Great and the Greeks invaded Canaan, they came into Jerusalem and desecrated the temple. Okay, they took and they slaughtered a pig on the altar in Yahweh's temple and desecrated it with the blood of a pig. Okay, so they were trying to destroy the culture of the children of Israel by destroying the temple, inside of the temple. They didn't actually burn the temple down, but they destroyed the inside of it, and they were trying to destroy the law, the Torah. Okay, so in desperation, the Pharisees wrote this book to try to hold everything together, to keep it all from being destroyed, because they were still following Torah, as we are today. Or we're supposed to be anyway. Anyway, it gets a little bit legalistic, and you'll see some things that are a little bit different from your Bible. But it's alright, because it's still a good parallel to the Torah. It is legalistic, because they kind of went off the rails with the legalism, but it really does show a good parallel between the Bible and this book. So it is a good study. So just know that there are some things that are a little more legalistic than what is in the Bible. Okay? So, go ahead and we'll get started tonight. Jubilees, chapter 4. Okay? In the third week, in the second Jubilee, she gave birth to Cain, and in the fourth week of the Jubilee, she gave birth to Abel, and in the fifth week of the Jubilee, she gave birth to her daughter Avana. A week is 7 years. Okay, so we're all understanding of how long a week is right now in this part. Verse 2, in the first year of the third Jubilee, Cain killed Abel, because Yahweh accepted the sacrifice of Abel and did not accept the offering of Cain. And he killed him in the field, and his blood cried from the ground to heaven, complaining because he had killed him. Elohim blamed Cain because he had killed Abel, and he made him a fugitive on the earth because of the blood of his brother, and he cursed him on the earth. Because of this, it is written on the heavenly tablets, cursed is he who kills his neighbor treacherously, and let all who have seen and heard say, so be it. And the man who has seen and not reported it, let him be accursed as the one committing it. For this reason we announce, when we come before Yahweh our Elohim, all the sin that is committed in heaven and on earth, and in light and in darkness, and everywhere. And Adam and his wife mourned for Abel 4 weeks of years, and in the 4th year of the 5th week they became joyful, and Adam knew his wife again, and she gave birth to a son, and he called his name Seth. For he said, God has raised up a second offspring to us on the earth instead of Abel, for Cain killed him. In the 6th week he begot his daughter Azurah. And Cain took of On his sister to be his wife, and she gave birth to Enoch at the close of the 4th Jubilee. In the 1st year of the 1st week of the 5th Jubilee, houses were built on the earth, and Cain built a city, and called its name after the name of his son Enosh. Adam knew Eve his wife, and she gave birth to a total of 9 sons. In the 5th week of the 5th Jubilee, Seth took Azurah, his sister, to be his wife, and in the 4th year of the 6th week, she gave birth to Enos. Okay, now you got to understand that there's nobody else on earth to be taking as wives. So they are having to keep it within the family, so to speak. But the bloodline, because of the fact that we are made in the image of Yahweh our Elohim, is a pure bloodline at this point, and it's able to handle the interbreeding. Okay? There isn't anybody else on earth. What are they supposed to do? Okay? I understand all of that. I hope you do too. Verse 12. He began to call on the name of Elohim on the earth. In the 7th Jubilee, in the 3rd week, Enos took Noam, his sister, to be his wife, and she gave birth to a son in the 3rd year of the 5th week, and he called his name Canaan. At the close of the 8th Jubilee, Canaan took Malulath, his sister, to be his wife, and she gave birth to a son in the 9th Jubilee, in the 1st week in the 3rd year of this week, and he called his name Mahalalel. In the 2nd week of the 10th Jubilee, Mahalalel took to him to wife Dinah, the daughter of Barachiel, the daughter of his father's brother, and she gave birth to a son in the 3rd week in the 6th year, and he called his name Jared. For in his days the angels of the Lord descended on the earth, those who are named the Watchers, that they should instruct the children of men, and that they should do judgments and uprightness on the earth. In the 11th Jubilee, Yerad took to himself a wife, and her name was Barakah, the daughter of Raziel, a daughter of his father's brother, in the 4th week of this Jubilee, and she gave birth to a son in the 5th week, in the 4th year of the Jubilee, and he called his name Enoch. He was the first among men that are born on earth who learned writing and knowledge and wisdom, and who wrote down the signs of heaven according to the order of their months in a book, that men might know the seasons of the years according to the order of their separate months. He was the first to write a testimony, and he testified to the sons of men among the generations of the earth, and recounted the weeks of the Jubilees, and made known to them the days of the years, and set in order the months, and recounted the Sabbaths of the years, as we made them known to him. And what was and what will be, he saw in a vision of his sleep, as it will happen to the children of men throughout their generations until the day of judgment. He saw and understood everything, and wrote his testimony, and placed the testimony on earth for all the children of men, and for their generations. In the 12th Jubilee, in the 7th week of it, he took to himself a wife, and her name was Edna, the daughter of Daniel, the daughter of his father's brother. And in the 6th year, in this week, she gave birth to a son, and he called his name Methuselah. He was with the angels of Yahweh these 6 jubilees of years, and they showed him everything that is on earth and in the heavens, the rule of the sun, and he wrote down everything. And he testified to the watchers who had sinned with the daughters of men, for these had begun to unite themselves so as to be defiled with the daughters of men, and Enoch testified against them all. And he was taken from among the children of men, and we conducted him into the Garden of Eden in majesty and honor. And there he wrote down the condemnation and judgment of the world, and all the wickedness of the children of men. Because of it, Yahweh brought the waters of the flood on all the land of Eden. For there he was set as a sign, and that he should testify against all the children of men, that he should recount all the deeds of the generations until the day of condemnation. He burnt the incense of the sanctuary, even sweet spices acceptable before Elohim on the mount. For the Elohim has 4 places on the earth, the Garden of Eden, the Mount of the East, and this mountain on which you are this day, Mount Sinai, and Mount Zion, which will be sanctified in the new creation for sanctification of the earth. Through it will the earth be sanctified from all its guilt and its uncleanness throughout the generations of the world. In the 14th Jubilee, Methuselah took to himself a wife, Edna, the daughter of Azrael, the daughter of his father's brother, in the 3rd week, in the 1st year of this week, and he begot a son, and called his name Lamech. In the 15th Jubilee, in the 3rd week, Lamech took to himself a wife, and her name was Betanos, the daughter of Berkailai, sorry about that, the daughter of his father's brother, and in this week she gave birth to a son, and he called his name Noah, saying, "The one will comfort me for my trouble and all my work, and for the ground which the Elohim has cursed." At the close of the 19th Jubilee, in the 7th week, in the 6th year of it, Adam died. And all his sons buried him in the land of his creation, and he was the first to be buried in the earth. He lacked 70 years of 1,000 years, because 1,000 years are as 1 day in the testimony of the heavens. Therefore was it written concerning the tree of knowledge, "On the day that you eat of it, you shall die." Because of this, he did not complete the 1,000 years, but instead he died during it. At the close of this Jubilee, Cain was killed after him in the same year, because his house fell on him, and he died in the middle of his house, and he was killed by its stones. With a stone he had killed Abel, and by a stone he was killed in righteous judgment. For this reason it was ordained on the heavenly tablets, with the instrument with which a man kills his neighbor, with the same shall he be killed. In the same manner that he wounded him, in like manner they shall deal with him. Excuse me. Okay. Verse 33, in the 25th Jubilee, Noah took to himself a wife, and her name was Emzarah, the daughter of Rachael, the daughter of his father's brother, in the 1st year, in the 5th week, and in the 3rd year of it she gave birth to Shem. In the 5th year of it she gave birth to Ham, And in the first year, in the 6th week, she gave birth to Japheth. Chapter 5. When the children of men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born to them, and the angels of Yahweh saw them on a certain year of this Jubilee, that they were beautiful, and they took themselves wives of all whom they chose, and they gave birth to their sons, and they were giants. Because of them, lawlessness increased on the earth, and all flesh was corrupted its way. Men and cattle and beasts and birds and everything that walked on the earth were all corrupted in their ways and their orders, and they began to devour each other. Lawlessness increased on the earth, and the imagination and thoughts of all men were continually, totally evil. All right. Now this is something that I'm sure is highly contested. I brought it up in Genesis when we were doing our Genesis study and when we were doing our Enoch study, because of the fact that the fallen angels corrupted not only humans, but all the animals as well. Okay? So now take a second and think about this. Now you have not one, not two, but you have 3 sources, 3 witnesses that they corrupted the animals. So everything that they have taught us in school about the dinosaurs is a lie, because the fallen angels corrupted the animals. What was the serpent in the garden? It was a reptile. So the fallen angels, they bred the animals, and they made these gigantic, horrible reptiles that were walking around the earth eating all the humans, not to mention the giants, that they couldn't feed them enough food, so they started eating all the humans. Fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman. Kind of interesting how folklore kind of tells a story there, doesn't it? Interesting, huh? Okay, sorry. I just needed, this is another witness, according to our theory. It's a theory, because we don't really have any proof except for these 3 witnesses that we have now studied, that the dinosaurs were the offspring of corrupted animals that were corrupted by the fallen angels. Okay, so there's another witness that we did not come from a paramecium that crawled out of a mud pit onto the ground, turned into a monkey, and then turned into man. No, these are all lies. They have been feeding us lies all this time for generations and generations, because they can't justify the Bible now, can they? All right, sorry, little tangent. Verse 3, Yahweh looked on the earth and saw it was corrupt, and all flesh had corrupted its orders, and all that were on the earth had committed all manner of evil before his eyes. He said that he would destroy man and all flesh on the face of the earth that he had created. But Noah found grace before the eyes of Elohim. And against the angels whom he had sent on the earth, he had a boiling anger, and he gave commandment to root them out of all their dominion. And he commanded us to bind them in the depths of the earth. And look, they are bound in the middle of the earth, and are kept separate. And against their sons went out a command from his mouth, that they should be killed with the sword, and be left under heaven. He said, My spirit shall not always abide on man, for they also are flesh, and their days shall be 120 years. So after the flood, we got reduced in our years, big time. Can't have corrupted flesh running around on the earth for 900 plus years. Yikes. Verse 9. He set his sword into their presence, that each should kill his neighbor. And they began to kill each other until they all fell by the sword, and were destroyed from the earth. So the giants started schwacking each other. The Nephilim were all schwacking each other, killing each other because Yahweh sent a curse on them. Verse 10, and their fathers were witnesses of their destruction, and after this they were bound in the depths of the earth forever, until the day of the great condemnation, when judgment is executed on those who have corrupted their ways and their works before the Elohim. He destroyed all wherever they were, and there was not one left of them whom he judged according to all their wickedness. Through his work he made a new and righteous nature, so that they should not sin in their whole nature forever, but should be all righteous, each in his own way, always. The judgment of all is ordained and written on the heavenly tablets in righteousness, even the judgment of all who depart from the path that is ordained for them to walk. And if they do not walk it, judgment is written down for every creature and for every kind. There is nothing in heaven or on earth, or in light, or in darkness, or in the abode of the dead, or in the depth, or in the place of darkness, that is not judged. All their judgments are ordained and written and engraved. He will judge all, the great according to his greatness, and the small according to his smallness, and each according to his way. He is not one who will regard the position of any person, nor is he one who will receive gifts, if he says that he will execute judgment on each. If one gave everything that is on the earth, he will not regard the gifts or the person of any, nor accept anything at his hands, for he is a righteous judge. Of the children of Israel it has been written and ordained, if they turn to him in righteousness, he will forgive all their transgressions and pardon all their sins. It is written and ordained that he will show mercy to all who turn from all their guilt once each year. And as for all those who corrupted their ways and their thoughts before the flood, no person was acceptable to Yahweh except Noah. His sons were saved in deference to him, and these Yahweh kept from the waters of the flood on his account. For Noah's heart was righteous in all his ways. He upheld the law and did as Yahweh commanded him, and he had not departed from anything that was ordained for him. The Elohim said that he would destroy everything on the earth, both men and cattle and beasts and birds of the air and that which moves on the earth. And he commanded Noah to make an ark, so that he might save himself from the waters of the flood. And Noah made the ark in all aspects, as he commanded him. And in the 27th Jubilee of years, in the 5th week, in the 5th year, on the new moon of the 1st month, he entered in the 6th year of it, in the 2nd month, on the new moon of the 2nd month, until the 16th. And he entered, and all that we brought to him into the ark. And the Elohim closed it from the outside on the 17th evening. And the Elohim opened 7 floodgates of heaven, and he opened the mouths of the fountains of the great deep, 7 mouths in number. As the floodgates began to pour down from the heaven 40 days and 40 closets, and the fountains of the deep also sent up waters, until the whole world was full of water. The water increased on the earth by 15 cubits. A cubit is 18 inches. The waters rose above all the mountains, and the ark was lifted up from the earth, and it moved on the face of the waters. And the water covered the face of the earth 5 months, which is 150 days. And the ark went and rested on the top of Lubar, one of the mountains of Ararat. On the new moon in the 4th month, the fountains of the great deep were closed, and the floodgates of heaven were restrained. And on the new moon of the 7th month, all the mouths of the bottomless gulfs of the earth were opened, and the water began to flow down into the deep below. On the new moon of the 10th month, on tops of the mountains were seen, and on the new moon of the 1st month, the earth became visible. The waters disappeared from the earth in the 5th week in the 7th year of it, and on the 17th day in the 2nd month, the earth was dry. On the 27th of it, he opened the ark, and sent out the beasts, and cattle, and bird, and every moving thing. Chapter 6. On the new moon of the 3rd month, he went out of the ark, and built an altar on that mountain. And he made atonement for the earth, and took a kid, and made atonement by its blood for all the guilt of the earth, for everything that had been on it had been destroyed, except those that were in the ark with Noah. He placed the fat of it on the altar, and he took an ox, and a goat, and a sheep, and kids, and salt, and a turtle dove, and the young of a dove, and placed a burnt sacrifice on the altar, and poured on it an offering mingled with oil, and sprinkled wine, and sprinkled frankincense over everything, and caused a good and pleasing odor to arise, acceptable before the Elohim. And the Elohim smelled the good and pleasing odor, and he made a covenant with Noah, that there should not be any more floods to destroy the earth, that all the days of the earth's seed time and harvest should never cease, cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night should not change their order, nor cease forever. Increase and multiply on the earth, and become many, and be a blessing on it. I will inspire the fear of you, and the dread of you, in everything that is on earth and in the sea. Look, I have given you all beasts, and all winged things, and everything that moves on the earth, and the fish in the waters, and all things for food, as the green herbs I have given you all things to eat. But you shall not eat anything live, or with blood in it, for the life of all flesh is in the blood, or your blood of your lives will be required. At the hand of every man, at the hand of every beast, I will require the blood of man. Whoever shed man's blood by hand, shall his blood be shed, for in the image of Yahweh he made man. Increase and multiply on the earth. Noah and his sons swore that they would not eat any blood that was in any flesh, and he made a covenant before Yahweh Elohim forever throughout all generations of the earth in this month. Because of this, he spoke to you that you should make a covenant with the children of Israel with an oath in this month. On the mountain you should sprinkle blood on them because of all the words of the covenant which the Elohim made with them forever. This testimony is written concerning you, that you should observe it continually, so that you should not eat on any day any blood of beasts or birds or cattle during all the days of the earth. And the man who eats the blood of beasts or of cattle or of birds during all the days of the earth, he and his offspring shall be rooted out of the land. And you will command the children of Israel to eat no blood, so that their names and their offsprings may be before Yahweh the Elohim continually. There is no limit of days for this law. It is forever. They shall observe it throughout their generations, so that they may continue supplicating on your behalf with blood before the altar. Blood, atonement for sin. Always a covenant is made with blood. Okay? Every day and at the time of morning and evening, they shall seek forgiveness on your behalf perpetually before the Elohim, that they may keep it and not be rooted out. And he gave to Noah and his sons a sign, that there should not again be a flood on the earth. He set his bow, a rainbow, in the cloud as a sign of the eternal covenant, that there should never again be a flood on the earth to destroy it for all generations of the earth. The rainbow belongs to Yahweh. Yahweh's rainbow is 7 colors. How do we remember that? Well, they taught us in elementary school, Roy G. Biv. Okay? Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Roy G. Biv, 7 colors. The Sodomite rainbow only has 6 colors. Look at their flag. They did not steal Yahweh's rainbow. They imitated it. Verse 17, for this reason it is ordained and written on the heavenly tablets that they should celebrate the Feast of Weeks in this month once a year, to renew the covenant every year. This whole festival was celebrated in heaven from the day of creation until the day of Noah, which were 26 jubilees and 5 weeks of years. Noah and his sons observed it for 7 jubilees and 1 week of years, until the days of Noah's death. From the day of Noah's death, his sons did away with it until the days of Abraham, and they ate blood. Verse 19. But Abraham observed it, and Isaac, and Jacob, and his children observed it up to your days. And in your days the children of Israel forgot it until you celebrated it anew on this mountain. Command the children of Israel to observe this festival in all their generations for a commandment to them. 1 day in the year in this month they shall celebrate the festival. For it is the festival of weeks, and the feast of the first fruits. This feast is twofold, and of a double nature, according to what is written and engraved concerning it. Celebrate it, for I have written in the book of the first law, in that which I have written to you, that you should celebrate it in its season, 1 day in the year. And I explain to you its sacrifices, that the children of Israel should remember and should celebrate it throughout their generations in this month, the same day in every year. Verse 23, on the new moon of the first month, and on the new moon of the 14th month, and on the new moon of the 7th month, and on the new moon of the 10th month, are the days of remembrance, and the days of the seasons in the 4 divisions of the year. These are written and ordained as testimony forever. Laying out the holidays, gang. These are Yahweh's holidays, and they don't consist of Christmas, Easter, Halloween, Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, or any other pagan holiday that celebrates garbage. These are Yahweh's holidays. These are the ones that we're supposed to be celebrating. Okay? It takes some study, it takes some research, and you got to figure out when the days occur. Okay? Verse 24, Noah ordained them for himself as feasts for the generations forever, so that they have become a memorial to him. On the new moon of the first month, he was told to make for himself an ark. And on that day the earth was dry, and he saw from the opened ark the earth. On the new moon of the fourth month, the months of the depths of the bottomless pit beneath were closed. Okay? Verse 26. On the new moon of the seventh month, all the mouths of the abysses of the earth were opened, and the waters began to descend into them. On the new moon of the 10th month, the tops of the mountains were seen, and Noah was glad. Because of this he ordained them for himself as feasts for a memorial forever, and thus are they ordained. And they placed them on the heavenly tablets. Each had 13 weeks, from one to another past their memorial, for the first to the second, and from the second to the third, and from the third to the fourth. All the days of the commandment will be 52 weeks of days. These will make the entire year complete. Thus it is engraved and ordained on the heavenly tablets. And there is no neglecting this commandment for a single year, or from year to year. Command you, the children of Israel, that they observe the years according to this counting, 364 days, and these will constitute a complete year, and they will not disturb its time from its day and from its feasts, for everything will fall out in them according to their testimony, and they will not leave out any day, nor disturb any feasts. But if they neglect and do not observe them according to his commandment, then they will disturb all their seasons, and the years will be dislodged from this order, and they will neglect their established rules. And all the children of Israel will forget, and will not find the paths of the years, and will forget the new moons and seasons and Sabbaths, and they will wrongly determine all the orders of the years. I guess they forgot them, huh? Verse 35, For I know, and from now on will I declare it to you, and it is not of my own devising. For the book lies written in the presence of me, and on the heavenly tablets the division of days is ordained, or they forget the feasts of the covenant, and walk according to the feasts of the Gentiles after their error and after their ignorance. Yeah, Christmas, Easter, etc. Verse 36, For there will be those who will assuredly make observations of the moon, and how it disturbs the seasons and comes in from year to year, 10 days too soon. For this reason the years will come upon them, when they disturb or misinterpret the order, and make an abominable day the day of testimony, and an unclean day a feast day, and they will confound all the days, the holy with the unclean, and the unclean day with the holy. For they will go wrong as to the months and Sabbaths and feasts and jubilees. Okay? Sounds like we've already done that, gang. Because the first month of the year, according to Yahweh's calendar, is right around April. Okay? The way that you tell is that there's two witnesses. The first witness, there's always two witnesses. The first witness is the heads on the barley are green. Okay, they're in full bloom and they are green. And then, when the new moon happens, you count 14 days from the new moon until the full moon. That is the Pesach. Okay, that is the Passover. So, the day, Passover happens, you have your Passover lamb, you feast, the next morning you wake up, you take any leftovers, you burn the leftovers, and from that day, for the next 7 days, is the Feast of Unleavened Bread, where you eat the bread of affliction, okay? The first Sabbath after the Pesach is first fruits. That's where you take anything that is coming up out of the ground, the first of whatever is grown out of the ground, and you offer it to Elohim. Okay, it's a sacrifice offering to Elohim. That gives you an idea of the first three of the holidays. They're boom, 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 right in a row. Okay? So from there, then you just have to count out your weeks and figure out your next holidays. Okay? Yehoshua was not born on December 25th. Yehoshua was born right around Pesach because, now I can prove that too, because the reason that Mary and Joseph could not find a place to lay their head in Bethlehem is because Bethlehem was the focal point for the shepherds to bring their sheep. The shepherds were in their fields. They bring their sheep to Bethlehem, which is right below Jerusalem. Okay? And then everybody going up to Jerusalem for the Pesach would stop in Bethlehem and pick up their sacrificial lamb and head on up to the temple. So, because of those, we know that Yehoshua was born right around the Pesach, either a little bit before or a little bit after, and was put on the stake, was hung on the stake the day after the Pesach. And then they had to take him down before the Sabbath. So, it shows reoccurring times. And it also shows that the celebrations that we celebrate, these holidays, are pagan. Keep that in mind. I suggest you do your own research on these things. Don't listen to me. Do your own research. Eyes to see, ears to hear. Okay, let's read this last verse and then we'll be done for the night. Verse 38. For this reason I command and testify to you, that you may testify to them. For after your death your children will disturb them, so that they will not make the year 364 days only. And for this reason they will go wrong as to the new moons and seasons and Sabbaths and festivals, and they will eat all kinds of blood with all kinds of flesh. Okay? Yeah, we forgot all of that stuff, didn't we? And for generations now, we have been falsely taught. If you do your research, you'll find out that December 25th is actually a pagan holiday, the winter solstice. Pagan. Because the Catholic Church changed it. April Fools! The reason they came up with April Fools is because everyone that followed the old calendar, the Catholic Church told everybody, if you follow that, you're a fool. April Fools, April 1st, April Fool's Day. That has also been made up by the Catholic Church to corrupt the calendar. You can see how they have done all of this throughout time. Constantine, when he gave in and figured, oh well, I guess I can't beat him, I better join him, because he was feeding Christians to the lions and hanging them on posts and burning their bodies in the middle of the night to light the streets of Rome. And they just kept multiplying and multiplying and multiplying and multiplying. After a while, he figured, well, I guess if I can't beat him, I may as well join him. And he made up this pagan religion. Religion is of man. Made up this pagan religion to bring together the teachings of Yehoshua and the paganism of Rome. And then all other denominations in this world, 54,000 different denominations, have evolved from the Catholic Church and their doctrines and their dogmas. Yeah. Your spirituality is your spirituality. It's your personal relationship with the Most High Elohim. It has nothing to do with man's church. Man's church is a made-up bunch of hoo-ha. Follow the teachings of Yehoshua. Read the Word. What is the Word? The Word is the Torah, the law of Yahweh. And the Word made flesh is Yehoshua Messiah. Okay? Keep that all straight. And like I said, don't believe anything that I say. Do your own homework. Don't believe any man. Do your own homework. See it for yourself. Don't believe your pastor because your pastor is going to gasp. I can't believe that you would even think that way. Well, once you do your own homework, you're going to realize that your pastor has been taught wrong also. Do your own homework, gang. Do your own homework. Well, I think that's it for tonight's study. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you stick with me. I know it's very legalistic, and I know it's very complicated to keep track of the days of the years of the Jubilee. But once you kind of get a hang of what they're talking about in here, then you understand how the calendar is set up, how the Jubilees are set up, how the festivals, the feasts are set up, the holidays, how everything is set up. And as we go through Torah in our Bible studies, then you'll be able to understand all of that more, because when we get to Leviticus, yeah, it goes through and it explains all of this in depth. Okay, so it's easier to understand. Alright, that's it. That's all I got for tonight. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you stick with me. Don't quit on me, gang. Don't quit on me. This is knowledge and wisdom, and we are gaining as much knowledge and as much wisdom as we can possibly gain so that we can have a better relationship with our Elohim. Okay, one-on-one relationship here. You talk to him, he talks to you. And Yehoshua is our intercessor. With his blood, he paved a road for us to seek salvation. Nothing is a guarantee. You must seek. Seek and ye shall find. Ask and it shall be revealed. It's our job. Okay? Alright, gang. Thanks for joining me. Y'all have a great night, and we'll see ya on the Wednesday Bible study. Okay, shalom.